Assalamualaikum everyone, and welcome back to my channel. If you are new, welcome. My name is Arina, and if you are coming back, I hope you all are doing well. In today's video, I'll be reviewing the new Pink Flash Face and Eye palette. So they come in 3 different shades. I did pick up all 3 and also did a look using one of the palette for today's video. So if you're interested to know my reviews, thoughts, and how I create this look, please keep on watching. So first up, let's talk about the packaging. If you are familiar with Pink Flash, their packaging is usually playful packaging. It suits the price. They are priced, I think, below RM10 or RM11, something like that. But you can always apply voucher and get more discounts during holidays. And this is what one of the palette looks like, and this is the palette that I used to create to this look, which is palette number 02. And all of this palette contains 4 face powders and also 6 eyeshadows. The eyeshadow contains a few different finishes, which is matte, sequins, and pressed glitter, and also there's metallic shade. From this palette, I don't find the new formula, which is the party formula. If you watch my previous video, which I will link up here, I said that there's one new formula which similar to the Colourpop Super Shock Shadow. It's a party formula. When you press your finger into the shade, the formula will hold the shape and will not bounce back. The O2 palette contains 2 mattes, 1 sequin. A sequin shade is matte shade that contains glitter, and 1 metallic shade, and also 2 pressed glitter, which already has a built-in glue. And for the face powder, from the O2 palette contains 1 bronzer, which is cool tone. I think this is suitable to use as a contour powder instead of a bronzer, but I use it for both today. And also 1 highlighter and 2 blushers. The blushers are matte. What's cute about this palette is, of course, the packaging, the see-through window at the front, and as usual, you don't really get anything at the back. There's no ingredients written because it's actually on the plastic shrink. Once you remove it, you don't know what's ingredient in it, and also the description and introduction about the palette. So the only palette that does not contain pressed glitter is the number 3 caramel latte, and the other 2 palette contains at least 1 pressed glitter. On some of this powder, there's embossed writing and also shapes such as the signature Pink Flash Lightning, and there's heart, diamond. And if you already bought the single blusher or bronzer, the feel and also packaging is the same. It's plasticky, it's very light. It's different from the Focalor face palette, where I feel like the packaging is a bit more rigid than this one. And also something to note, unfortunately, 2 of the highlighters from the face palettes came to me broken during shipping, because I feel like the powders are very soft and also lightly pressed, because that happens with my single highlighter from Pink Flash as well. So only one of the palettes survived during shipping, which is the 02, the strawberry shade, which I used to create today's look. And I did already pressed the scattered powder into their pan, but unfortunately some of it got mixed into one of the cracked eyeshadow, which is the 03 caramel latte. One of the shimmer shadow are also cracked and broken into pieces, and some of the pieces got into the highlighters. The swatches that I am about to show you guys maybe are not that accurate for the highlighter from the 03 caramel latte palette. So I am going to show you guys swatches for all of these palettes. I'm going to start with the 01 palette, which is Mandarin Latte. From the name, you can guess that this palette contains orangey, yellowy, and the tones Citrus Fruit. From the Mandarin Latte 01, there's only one pressed glitter, but the glitter is not chunky from the strawberry palette. I'm going to start by swatching the eyeshadows first, and then I'm going to move on to the face powders. Okay guys, I like to correct myself. There's actually one party formula in 2 out of the 3 palettes, and one of it is in the Mandarin Latte palette, and this is the swatches for the eyeshadows, and I did swatch it by Rose. Firstly is the orangey pumpkiny shade. It's not that very deep orange, it's more like a pumpkin tone, and on the center is the metallic shade. It's coppery shade, and this one is cool tone brown. This one is also a metallic shade. This is an orangey metallic shade. On the center is salmony matte shade, and the last one is the party formula. It's a light orangey shade. Okay, this is the face powder. The blusher are very light tone. On up here it's a light peach shade, and down here it's a light coral pink shade, and this is the highlighter. The highlighter is so pretty and reflective. It's a light champagne shade, and this is the bronzer. The bronzer is very light, and also it's a cool tone bronzer. I haven't found a warm tone bronzer from Pink Flash, and I think that's the trend that they are going for. They prefer a contour powder instead of a bronzer, because a bronzer is supposed to be warm. It is supposed to mimic tan that you get from the sun, and contour is supposed to mimic shadow for your face and also bring back the shape for your face. So for all of these 3 palettes, the contour powder are cool tone, and for me personally, I prefer a warm tone powder. I used a bronzer as a contour, and I rarely use contour to create shadow for my face. Okay, now I'm going to swatch the 02 Strawberry palette, and first I'm going to swatch the eyeshadows. This is the palette that I used to create today's look. These are the swatches. Alright, I swatch it by Rose, starting from the first shade, the shade that has a heart embossed. It's a dusty pink shade. Moving on to the second eyeshadow, which is a party formula, and this formula contains orange and also silver glitter. It's very micro. I think it is safe to use on the eyes. And the third shade is a dusty mauve shade, and this one is a pressed glitter that contains built-in glue, and the glitter is quite chunky. Please use at your own risk. I don't think this type of glitter is safe to use on the eyes. And this shade is a magenta shade, and this shade is quite pigmented when I swatch it, but when I use it on the eyes to create today's look, it's not as pigmented as the swatch. But it really depends on what brush you use. I did use a more fluffy brush. If you use a more dense matte brush, maybe it will pick up more product. And lastly is a shimmery or metallic rose gold shade. Okay guys, for the eyeshadow in the strawberry palette here, there's actually more glitter in the formula. I forgot to mention that. Want to use it on the eyes or swatch it, the glitters kind of got away and it is not visible. The face powder, and this is the blusher. As you can tell from the pattern, the blusher is very light toned and lastly is number 3 Caramel Latte. This palette is so pretty. It is all of these palettes are everyday palette except for number 2 because it contains pressed glitter. Other than that, suitable to use daily because the color is not very shocking and not very out of the box. And lastly is the number 03 Caramel Latte palette, and I did swatch the eyeshadow on my hand. The first is a matte bone shade. I really appreciate a matte bone shade in a palette because I can use it to sometimes set my eyes and also blend out the deeper tones and also diffuse the crease shade. And on the center is a metallic orangey shade, and the third shade is a kind of like a rosewood or a burnt wood shade, and this shade is very pretty. I can't assure you guys whether this is a party shade or a metallic shade because like I said, mine are broken into pieces, so I don't know whether this one is a metallic shade, but the reflectiveness is so beautiful. It catches the lights so pretty. This shade also can be used as highlighter because there's no chunky glitter in it. And the third shade is a beautiful burgundy red shade that is very pigmented, and also this shade, I don't know whether there's pressed glitter in the formula, but I don't know whether it is from the neighbor eyeshadow and got into the eyeshadow, so I can't confirm on that. I will recheck it and leave something down here for you guys if I can find it. And the third one is a sequin shade, and again, the sequin shade, the glitter doesn't show up on the swatches, and also I don't think it will show up intensely on the eyes as well, so you can use it as a crease shade because when you blend out the eyeshadow, most of the glitter just fall out and it will not be visible on the eyes. These eyeshadows are very approachable and also easy to maneuver because there's no scary shade. The shades are neutral and also warm. It's really easy to create an eye look with this type of tones, and also 6 eyeshadow is enough for you to create a daily look and to create a very simple eye look. These are the swatches from the face powder in the Caramel Latte palette. Again, the blusher are very light tone except for this one. I think this is the deepest blusher from the collection, and this is the bronzer and this is the highlighter. Again, the contour shade is cool tone and the highlighter is pretty as well. And there's no deep gold tone highlighter, unfortunately. If you have a deeper skin tone, you can use single highlighter from Pink Flash as well. That one has a beautiful gold tone highlighter that this is first Pink Flash eyeshadow, and so far I enjoy the formula. The swatch and also feels soft, and I don't think there is any hardly pressed eyeshadow because from the tutorial you can see that when I dip my brush into the shadow, you will get some kickbacks, and that means that the eyeshadow are not hardly pressed, and that be an upside because you will get more pigment from the shadow. And also all of this eyeshadow blends beautifully, and because most of it are very light tone, but so far so good. I don't have any difficulties using this eyeshadow to create a look. I will insert a photo or a clip of the look that I create for each of this palette. For the eyeshadows, I think it ticked most boxes because they are crease shades, metallic shades, and also they included a deep shade because I really appreciate a deep shade in a shadow as well because I love to have a depth for my eye look. The embossed on the shadow and also the face powder will eventually be gone because I only use this palette once, and some of the embosses or pattern on the eyeshadow already faded, as you can see there. And the blushers from all of these palettes are matte. There's no satin blusher or metallic blushers. And thankfully the highlighters are very smooth. They did not emphasize my face textures or my face line. Even today I forgot to set my face with a setting spray because I usually bumped any texture emphasizing powders on my face by setting it with a setting spray, but today I forgot to, and I don't think the highlighter emphasized the texture on my face, which is nice. The only downside for this palette is the size of the face powder because it's quite narrow in my opinion, because my bronzer brush are typically very large and fluffy, and the shape of this one is very narrow, and sometimes I may accidentally dip into the blusher as well. But today I did use my setting brush. It's from Focalor. I think for this pen size it's appropriate to use this brush because if you use a fluffy brush like this, you may get into the neighbor powders. Also the shade name is on the plastic shrink, and I did write the shade with a marker pen because, and sometimes I forgot what they are. For today's video, I decided to use a natural lighting because today is sunny. I thought why not just use natural lighting while the sun is still up. So what you see on the camera is actually the actual appearance of the product. This is how the highlighter reflects back the lights, and it's very pretty. It doesn't emphasize the texture at all. For the metallic shades, I highly recommend you guys to use your finger instead of a brush because finger picks up metallic shades very well, and also it deposits most of the pigment onto the lids. That's it for today's review. If you're interested with the details that I have on my face, I will list it and also link it in the description box below. If you want to purchase this palette, I will also leave a link where I purchased it from, and usually I will always pick the most affordable ones. And thank you so much for watching until the end. If you find this video helpful, please don't forget to give it a thumbs up, and please leave a comment and let me know if you also pick up this palette. So thank you so much for watching. Take care, and I hope I see you guys in my next one. Bye. Assalamualaikum.